Hello, and this little short video is nothing essential on your path to learning how to throw a knife the very best you can, to master throwing knives. This is just something I wanted to include kind of for whatever. And that is, what is the appeal of knife throwing? I mean, from my perspective, why throw a knife? What's the appeal? I thought about that quite a bit, and I do get a little bit of an endorphin rush off every time I pick a knife up and throw and hit precisely what I'm throwing at, point first. I get a little endorphin fix off it, so I think it's kind of addictive, honestly. And hopefully you'll see what I mean, safely. The other reasons I thought of, there are other reasons. Why throw a knife? What's the appeal? Why bother? You have your own reasons. I'm just going to go over what I thought of. This may sound corny, but knife throwing is sexy. That's right, knife throwing is sexy. And I say that because I've been throwing knives since I was like 10 years old up to present. And women I've known always thought it was something cool about me, that they just thought it was just another reason that makes me cool, desirable. In my younger years, I'd say, but yeah, knife throwing sexy. Another reason they want to be with the knife throwing man. And TV proves it's sexy. The movies, Hollywood, has a little bit of a small side romance with knife throwers. You know, I don't watch a lot of movies and things, but I've noticed that the knife throwing man in the movies, at least the older ones I've seen, Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York, Crocodile Dundee from a long time ago, and there are other ones. Girl on a Bridge, it's a French movie that I recommend, but it's in French. It's got subtitles. Girl on a Bridge, if you can find it. All these guys in knife throwers are all like, there's some brooding, quiet, silent, brooding, mysterious character to them, and they're all wicked accurate with knives, throwing them. It's what they do. It's part of their image, a big part of their image. So knife throwing is sexy. What else could I come up with? For me, that was it. That, and a long time ago, there's a story I'm going to tell about when I was the designated 1st Platoon Silent Sentry Takeout Man, when my platoon sergeant discovered my skills at knife throwing when I was a paratrooper. And I will tell that story down the road just for whatever, entertainment's sake. It doesn't have anything to do with you learning to throw a knife. So skip it, and I don't blame you if you do, but if you're just curious, I'm going to tell that story. I think it's kind of funny, but it actually did get me onto the path in my early 20s to start taking knife throwing much more serious, to get good at, real good at it. Other than that, it was just kind of a hobby, you know. But, you know, I thought it would be good to learn how to, I had to learn how to do it because I was in a military unit and paratroopers, and my platoon sergeant told me that I was the new platoon silent sentry takeout man. Those were his words. What else is it's a martial art. Knife throwing is part of a martial art. You could add to your martial arts tool kit, bag, whatever list. It's a martial art that takes a high degree of mental clarity and physical in tune, you know, almost a Zen thing, Z-E-N, Zen spiritual thing. It's everything comes together when you throw a knife very accurately. Taking all the bullshit, excuse the language if it offends anyone, taking all the BS luck factor out of it. No luck factor. You throw at what you intend to hit and you hit it. Point first. every time, every time. And if you don't, you ask yourself, how did I miss that? You start critiquing yourself like a sniper or somebody really that takes their shooting skills very seriously, and they miss a shot. And they want to figure out why did they miss? They take it serious and they try to figure it out so they can correct it. How far do you want to take this, you know? I think we all started out just kind of throwing knives into trees and dirt and stuff, just seeing if we could stick a knife point first, you know, without having it bounce back and hit us or somebody. But now you're taking it a step further. And I thought about it a few years ago. I had a reason also to take this up. When I had kids in the house, and I had a bit more of a social life when I was younger. And there was invariably some crime and some break-ins in my neighborhood. Not a lot, but it did happen. And every now and then, it ended in tragic consequences. And I started seriously thinking about getting a handgun, keeping it around loaded, where, you know, not locked and loaded, not with kids around and stuff, but to where I could, you know, chamber it and do what I got to do if I have to. And I thought about it, you know, with kids around and adult friends that act like kids sometimes, I don't really feel good with keeping a loaded gun in the house, honestly. And then I thought about it. It occurred to me that within my own house, within the ranges, with any range, given range within my house, within a room or the room across from the room, I could pick a knife up and throw it as quick, I think quicker, than I could retrieve a handgun, load it up, you know, and take care of the situation. You know, it occurred to me, you could hit anything. That's my dog with his chew toy. He doesn't throw knives. He's a basset hound. It occurred to me then, don't get a handgun. You know, if you really must, just keep some throwing knives around, because I know I can pick one of these up and hit anything within 20 feet or so very quickly. And knives like this knife weighs, God, like 2 pounds. And it's going to hit with very devastating effect. Very devastating. So will this. And, you know, if they're not in my house, I really don't have a right to be shooting at them, do I? Not a legal right, and probably not a moral right. And as far as that goes, I am not an advocate of violence. I really am not trying to, you know, you do what you're going to do. But as far as I go, if somebody broke into my house and, you know, it's just me living here with my dog, I'm not going to, you know, take it. I'm not going to kill you for it. If you really need to take my stuff that bad, take it. I'm not an advocate of violence. But if I have a wife or children, then I think aggressive defense is quite justified. And in terms of an aggressive defense, it's always good to have a plan and a backup plan, and be clear-headed and use deadly force always last. But unfortunately, you may have to be in a situation where you have to make a decision. Unlike a gun, this is another reason. You know, they say don't bring a knife to a gunfight. There's definitely a lot of truth to that. But inside my house, if somebody came in, I could take this and throw it pretty quick, I think faster. And here's the thing about a knife versus a gun. This doesn't jam. It doesn't jam. It doesn't run out of ammo. It's always fully loaded. And it's legal and it's safe, a lot safer than having a loaded gun around the house that somebody, you know, in some altered state of mind, emotionally, or, you know, whatever, or some child's going to pick up a loaded gun. It's kind of dangerous to have a gun around the house, honestly. It depends upon your own situation and where you live. For me, I figure I could pick one of these up and use it pretty well. And I've got a lot of these around. So those are my reasons, my appeal for knife throwing. You must have your own, whoever you are. I hope and pray that you or I never have to throw any of these at another person. Never have a cause to. But that's not what this is all about. So there's only going to be so more of these videos where it's not really about throwing knives. I'm just putting everything I can think of about knife throwing out there. And honestly, for me, years ago when I had a wife and kids around, and I like to have a few beers with my friends that would pop in at any time, and there was some crime around, I made a decision not to buy a handgun for reasons stated, but that I could do what I need to do with this, one of these, just as well. I could throw it very well, very fast. I honestly think I could pick up a knife and throw it and hit, you know, within 20 feet, sitting down or whatever, quicker than I could retrieve a handgun, chamber around and fire. I honestly think I could. I could be wrong. But the risk of having a gun around and having a child or somebody in an altered state of mentally or emotionally pick it up, no. Tragedy, no. So, what else? Yeah, it's an addiction. For me, it's an addiction. It always has been a bit of an addiction, a fixation with throwing knives. And to try different things, different types of knives, and things like that, throwing them. And so, that's it. Next chapter is on safety.